hope these videos start getting to be a little bit easier, because I'm just doing take after take after take at the moment. But I wanted to follow up from a social media post that I posted last week or the week before about my expandable ball demonstration that I use for my kind of pre-talk, and how I work with clients and their sort of like fears, phobias, stresses and anxiety. So I thought I'd do a little bit more of an in-depth video for my YouTube channel, this channel that you're currently watching. So yeah, the reason why I used the ball, the expandable ball, was just to kind of explain the kind of fight, flight and freeze kind of box that we have within us, within our subconscious. And the reason I do that, it kind of gives an overall for how it works, how it affects us on a day-to-day basis, and also how I can help as a hypnotherapist as well, and what I actually do in terms of sessions with helping you remove or control some of your anxieties, stresses, and then your fears and phobias, and how also that can impact you on other areas of your life, but also how it doesn't always just happen. It doesn't always have to be something that you have happen to yourself. It can be something that you've learned throughout your childhood, something that you've seen. It is also learned behaviour. So in a nutshell, and how I kind of explain this to clients, is that we have two parts of your brain. So obviously your left and right, but also you've got your sort of like your emotive and your intellectual. So you've got your emotive, intellectual. Your emotive is your emotions, your creativity, and your intellectual is obviously your learning and your rationale as well. And then in the middle sits this little box, which is your fight, flight and freeze mechanism. And with your fight, flight and freeze mechanism, if you're not too sure what it is, fight is if you get in an argument, feel very sort of like angered, and your first instinct is to physically fight or verbally fight. My mind's gone blank. Fight, flight, freeze. So your flight is basically your first instinct is to kind of walk away from the situation, or if you get a bill through your letterbox, your first instinct is actually just to kind of put it under a mat and walk away. And your freeze is essentially play dead, or if you've been so ill, you just kind of curl up into a ball and just want it to go away. So that's your fight, flight and freeze. And what happens is, with my little diagram here, if you can see that mirrored, so it's probably the wrong way round, but with that, your little box sits just there, and your emotions sort of like connect to this box, and they essentially control what happens, when it happens, and it overrides your intellect. And what I mean by that is, again, I'll use, say, the argument example. If you've been in an argument and you say something, and it can be really mean, it can be really hurtful, and then 5-10 minutes later, you're like, oh no, I shouldn't have said that. And I'm sure we've all been there. But that's your emotive side, your emotions overriding your intellect, because your intellect is your rationale. Your emotions has gone straight into that fight, flight and freeze, and you've said something. And then 10 minutes later, your intellect kicked in, and you're like, oh no. And then you're starting to think about it. But you can use that example many things. If you are really keen to go to the gym, you build it up. Yes, I'm going to go to the gym, and then you don't. And then afterwards you really regret it, because there's something there that it doesn't always have to be fight, flight and freeze. Well, effectively that is your flight, then you're walking away from that situation. So there are many examples for that. And the reason why I use the expandable ball is because essentially when you have a fear, phobia, stress or anxiety, your fight, flight and freeze is sort of like on a daily basis, it will be nice and calm, nice and you won't really feel anything essentially. It'll be working away. And then when you do have that kind of spike of a fight, flight or freeze, it expands. So if you drive in and you accidentally hit a curb, or something makes you jump on a daily basis, you might have something that just gives you that oh feeling, your mechanism expands, and that's when it's your weakest point. And then while it's at its weakest point, those fears, anxieties, phobias, stresses basically creep in. And this happens throughout your life. And sometimes you don't realise it's happening, your subconscious is kind of packaging it up. Excuse me, it's probably the most I've spoke in a while. And because it's like that, it's getting fuller and fuller and fuller, then it can't sort of like close properly, can't be calm. And then what happens is, over time, it can't close properly, and it starts releasing chemicals. And those chemicals basically make you feel anxious or stressed, even at times that you don't know why. So you could walk into a room, then all of a sudden you feel anxious, you feel anxiety, you feel worried, but you're just not too sure why. And that's because that part of your brain, the subconscious, the fight, flight and freeze mechanism isn't obviously closing, something's wrong. And it's at that, is it going to hurt me, is it going to kill me type scenario. And yeah, that's why sometimes you feel like you do, because this isn't being able to close properly. You've got lots of things in there that your subconscious is storing, that again, it hasn't happened to you, or you've seen it happen, and it's been a learned behaviour from when you're very young, in terms of you could be scared of certain things. Obviously that's why there's ratings on movies, because if you've seen a movie that's 18 when you're very young, obviously it can traumatise you. You're very vulnerable at that age, you take in everything, and then your subconscious essentially store that. So things like spiders could have come from a film. Heights could be from a parent, essentially. Your parent could have always said that they've been scared of heights, and you could have taken on that fear and phobia as well. But there are lots of other things that we talk about over certain issues and reasons why people come to see me. So essentially that's why I use the ball, just to explain it a little bit more. And then it's my job as a hypnotherapist to essentially help you remove those fears, phobias, those anxieties, those reasons that you may not know that you feel that way, by essentially kind of spiking it during session, and then helping you and asking you to do the work by just kind of removing it, speaking to your subconscious. Is it ready to let go now? Is your subconscious, is it time to let go? And you'll work with your subconscious, basically remove each of those different scenarios, those issues, those reasons, until your ball can close properly. And you feel obviously a lot more positive, a lot more better about yourself. So yeah, just in a nutshell, a quick follow up from the social media post I did the other day on the expandable ball. I did do a little bit of a video as well, just explaining that in general, but I just wanted to do an overall feel for it. So I'm also going to be doing some more kind of education videos on my channel. There's going to be some induction videos as well, where I just show how I take people into hypnosis essentially, and then some videos on certain techniques as well during session, just so everyone gets kind of a feel of what hypnosis is, and a little bit more on how I work. So yeah, if you've enjoyed this, say, short video, it's going up to 10 minutes now, but yeah, any questions around what I've said, if you want to know more, then just drop me a message, and I will see you on the next video. Take care, bye bye.